listeners. Welcome to Plano's Political Pitbull podcast. I am Esther.
And I'm Ruth.
And today we are going to talk about the Texas House bill, or one Texas House bill, I should say. Plano passes more economic development, and the Willow Bend zoning change. So first up, we have economic development. On February 24th, 2025, City Council passed an agreement with Atlantic Aviation, located at 5525 Granite Parkway, Suite 1700 in Plano. Yes, a Plano company, and it gave them some economic development. So the details. Plano will give Atlantic Aviation $300,000, and in exchange for that money, the company must lease an office at 5525 Granite Parkway, Suite 700. You heard me correctly. They are literally moving offices within the same complex. They're going from 1700 to Suite 700. When I saw this on the Google Maps, I was like, they're moving next door, just moving one spot over. It was really quite shocking to me. They're not moving down the street. They're just moving offices within the same building.
Well, clearly that means that they have to have $300,000?
Yeah, $300,000.
That's a big move.
Huge. Loading that truck is going to be so hard. Loading the truck. They won't even have to hire a truck. Oh, but wait, there's more. So the aviation company will also have to make improvements to Suite 700 in the value of $2,334,240, and they must retain and maintain 89 full-time employees. So they don't have to hire any new employees. They just have to keep 89 employees full-time. Would you like to know what this company does?
Sure.
Okay. So, according to my research, this company is in private air transportation. Yes, they have airplanes, and the very rich can lease an airplane to take them and fly them wherever, I guess, they want.
Okay.
All right. So not for the average consumer, obviously. It's very expensive to rent a private plane. The company, Aviation, or Atlantic Aviation, I should say, is worth $4,475,000, and the CEO makes between $671,042 and $1,106,441. Now, that is obviously, the range there is because he might get certain perks that, while not an actual cash salary, is worth money. Oh, but wait, I found out even more.
There's more?
There's more, yes. So, this company, not a privately owned company. No. This company is owned by a global investment firm named KKR.
What?
They're owned by another company. And this company is a global investment firm. You gonna hazard a guess what they're worth? Go ahead, take a guess. Go ahead.
A lot.
Oh,
I don't wanna.
you can say that again.
I'm not gonna be able to figure it out. Also, I cheated. I looked at your notes.
So they are worth $122 billion. Yes, that's billion with a B, folks. $99 million as of February 21st, 2025. And the reason I know that is because they're a publicly traded company. So they're on the stock exchange. And you can buy stock in their company for a whopping $131.19 a share.
You're very smug right now.
I am very smug right now because this drives me bananas. By the way, that is of February 24th, 2025. That price for share may have gone up, may have gone down since we are doing this podcast. Oh, but there's more.
Of course there's more. There's always more.
This global investment firm, KKR, their revenue is $26.57 billion. Their net income, according to Yahoo Finance, is over $3 billion. And their total cash on hand is $38.88 billion. And we gave them $300,000
to move downstairs.
Downstairs, next door. I don't know the configuration of the building. I just know they are within the same building complex. The CEO of the global investment firm, this guy's net worth, according to Forbes, is $2.7 billion. And his salary, just his salary, is about $80 million per year.
Jeez.
What do you have to do for $80 million? I would love to know. That must be a very stressful job because, granted, running a global investment firm, very stressful. I could see that. But if you were going by the stress factor, it's got to be a lot of stress. I mean, those guys work 24/7. I'm not saying he's not worth it. All right. He's probably a lovely guy. But why are we giving a company that is owned by a global investment firm whose CEO could literally write the check out for $300,000 and probably not blink? Why are we giving them anything? What? $300,000? What road could that have repaired? What salary would that be? That could be 2 firefighters or 1 city manager or deputy city manager or a whole other bunch of staff. And we are giving these folks who clearly don't need it. They have more in petty cash.
The only thing I can think of is they're like, please stay with us. Here, we'll give you a bit of money. That's all I can think of. It's not even that good.
You can hear it in my voice how just shocked I am. When I saw this on the consent agenda, and I'm going to add, I hate that it is on the consent agenda. Okay? I want this on the non-consent agenda, issues or topics for public hearing.
There's probably a reason they put it on the consent agenda.
Yeah, because nobody reads the consent agenda.
That's why.
Except Councilman Anthony Riccadelli and Councilman Shelby Williams. Okay? Everyone else, I guarantee you, doesn't read it. Even the public. I have been caught in this. Even the public who, they'll go and they'll see the agenda. A lot of times they will skip consent agenda because it's supposed to be nothing that's controversial. Well, I'm sorry, but corporate welfare is controversial. It's controversial because you are handing over our tax dollars to companies who don't need it.
And they probably know that, and they don't want the controversy. So they're just like, we're just going to sneak it in here. That's what it looks like anyway.
It is sneaky. Well, they are allowed to not divulge anything that they're in talks with companies, in negotiations with companies, wanting to give certain companies economic development.
Shouldn't be involved with companies.
I agree. They're not required to tell us anything until the agenda comes out. Then they have to put it on the agenda. Before that, before the however many days it is, 4 days before the meeting, which is when the agenda usually comes out, they don't have to divulge anything. And they want to keep it that way because they are afraid that if another town sees that they're giving economic development to a company, the other town might pilfer the company away from us. She's blinking really hard here.
I'm rolling my eyes.
Yeah, she's rolling her eyes. That's their reasoning, because apparently our neighbors are quite backstabbers, I guess, and they will steal companies away from us.
Well, if you do it, you assume that everyone else is going to do it too.
Oh, you think Plano has done that? Oh, that's interesting.
It's like somebody who is constantly accusing you of cheating or is really insecure about that. They've probably cheated on you.
I have some worse news. That wasn't bad enough. So apparently Plano is not the only government entity in Texas that does corporate welfare. Shocking, I know, right? It's not just cities. The state of Texas does this too. Except they'll go and they'll try to pilfer companies away from other states. And I shared a fellow podcaster on our Facebook page, Plano's Political Pitbull Facebook page. I shared his video because he goes into corporate welfare at the state level. And according to his guest that he had on, corporate welfare is not something that companies overwhelmingly consider. There was a company that apparently went to Pflugerville, and somebody had asked them, well, is the fact that the state of Texas is giving you money to go to Pflugerville or to come here, is that what's the overriding or the contributing factor? And they said, no, it's actually the least thing we think about. It's the last thing we think about. The reason why we want to move here is because we're close to our suppliers. So I had talked about this before. It was that same message that companies really aren't, it's not going to kill a deal if you don't give them money or some kind of corporate welfare, because they don't think of that as the first reason to move.
Well, it makes sense because, the city gives them some amount of money. That's short term. They're thinking of the long term.
Exactly. If you have a good competitive business environment, meaning you have low regulations, low taxes, okay, you have good working force, you have the kind of workers in your city that the company is looking for, they are going to pick your city. They're going to pick your state. Elon Musk, he moved to Texas out of California. Why? He said it. He said it. It was because California had gone cuckoo. And he could no longer do business in California. It was not profitable. They were taking too much of his money, too much of his company's money. There were too many regulations. So guess what? He moved to Texas because Texas, he can build his cars here. He can build his Teslas. He can do his, what is that thing? The rockets that he does.
Can make that awful looking box car.
That is one ugly car, isn't it? I've seen it. It's hideous. Tanks look prettier than that car.
I've said it a million times, but it looks like an unfinished render in a video game.
I think they look better than that car.
Oh, you haven't seen it? No, it looks exactly like an unfinished render. Like, it's something that you just started putting together in Blender, so it's just the poly.
I don't know.
You don't know what I'm talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about. Okay. And probably anyone over the age of 40 doesn't know what you're talking about either.
Okay, if you know game design, then you know what I'm talking about.
Okay. I guess that sucker has a market because people are buying him because I keep seeing him. Although I don't see a lot of them.
All right, we're getting off topic.
We are. It's an ugly car. But you know what? The market is so that he can build it and build it here cheaply.
Because people want it, apparently. Mm-hmm. And
so
yeah.
you don't need to bribe companies. What you need is a government that will leave the companies alone. I guarantee you, I would bet a lobster dinner I will eat the cockroach. Okay?
No, you won't.
Okay? If California were to dangle $1 million in front of a company who is in Texas and says, please come to California, we will give you $1 million. That company is going to say, not no, hell no. I am not moving out of Texas where I would have to take my employees. They would be subject to a huge income tax, huge barrage of fees and taxes and crazy, crazy rules. And of course, higher property values, which would cause them not to be able to buy homes in California. We think we have it bad here. They have it worse. They'll never do it.
Well,
they'll never do it.
Unless they're really stupid.
Well, you can't be stupid and be in business. It doesn't go hand in hand because you won't be in business for long.
I was going to say you'd be surprised, but then you said the end of you wouldn't be in business for long.
Exactly. Yeah, you're not going to be in business for long if you're not smart. So that is our corporate welfare of the day for Plano and, of course, Texas. So go watch this guy's video. He talks about this it's about a 14-minute video, not a long video. Obviously, the views are his own, and we have not watched any other videos, So whatever else he says, we do not necessarily agree or disagree with it. We just like this one particular view of his. Moving on. Speaking of Texas. Since the legislature is in session, we have a new segment, which we are calling the Bad Bill of the Week. This is an homage to a former representative who used to do the Bad Bill of the Week, and he used to tell his constituents and anyone who's on his Facebook page, tell them about a bill and say, write to your reps or write to the author of the bill and tell them this is a hideous bill and get rid of it. So, our Bad Bill of the Week winner is HB 878. And do you think you can pronounce this rep's name?
Vasut?
Okay. Spelt VASUT. Apparently he is a Republican.
Okay.
But for this bill, it don't matter if he's a Republican or a Democrat.
It's bad.
It's a bad bill. You know, it doesn't really matter. They all can have bad bills. So the bill. Residential zoning limitations in certain municipalities. Yes, this bill will allow the state to dictate the zoning of municipalities.
This is a Texas state bill, right?
Yes, this is a Texas state bill. State law precedes local law or supersedes local law. So kiss your zoning goodbye, folks, because this applies to a municipality with a population of 85,000 or more, and that is wholly or partially located in a county with a population of 1 million or more. Plano. This includes you. This includes actually most cities in Collin County. Moving on. So, just the first thing they do is they define what a small lot means, because this is going to deal with small lots. A small lot means a residential lot that is 4,000 square feet or less. Just so we are clear with that definition, because it says a municipality may not, is prohibited from adopting or enforcing an ordinance, rule, or other measure that requires a residential lot to be A, larger than 2,500 square feet, wider than 16 feet, or C, deeper than 30 feet. Or, if regulating the density of dwelling units, aka apartments, or any kind of multi-use dwelling, a residential lot, a ratio dwelling units per acre that results in fewer than 31.1 units per acre. So, stated simply, you cannot require fewer than 31.1, I don't know how you do a 0.1 unit, per acre. Small lots. Remember we said the small lots, we defined it as less than 4,000 square feet. A municipality may not adopt or enforce an ordinance, rule, or other measure that requires small lots to have a building, waterway, plane, or other setback greater than 5 feet from the front or back of the property, or 5 feet from the side of the property. You can't have you cannot require covered parking, more than 1 parking space per unit. So if you have a 3-bedroom apartment, you cannot require the builder to make sure that a 3-bedroom apartment has at least 3 parking spaces. Off-site parking, no longer a requirement. More than 30% open space or permissible surface. Fewer than 3 stories, not exceeding 10 feet in height, measured from the interior floor to the ceiling. So no longer can a city require that all its buildings be only 2 stories. A maximum building bulk, a wall articulation requirement, or any other zoning restriction that imposes restrictions inconsistent with this subsection, including restrictions through contiguous zoning districts or uses, or form the creation of an overlapping zoning district.
I'm lost.
That's gone. Okay. I know. They like to drone on in these bills. I'm reading directly from the bill because I don't want to mess this up.
I know, but I'm a little confused.
Okay. What this bill is saying is that, very simply stated, City of Plano, or any city like it, pretty much any city in Collin County, can no longer require developers to have a certain number of parking spaces, to have a certain number of feet between the property lines. If a city wants to be a little more suburban and they don't want tall buildings, that's gone. That's it. Can't have 2-story buildings or 1-story building. Can't require it anymore.
So what I'm hearing is complete chaos.
Well, obviously you're not going to demolish buildings that are currently standing.
No, I'm saying though, it sounds like this is what I'm getting.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't understand why. If I'm correct on this, it is a he, right? That wrote the bill.
This is a he, yes.
Okay. He is saying that you can't require developers to do this set of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have these requirements.
Right.
So what I translate that to is chaos. Developers can just do whatever the heck they want.
It is going to appear that way. This will basically destroy the looks of certain cities. This is going to be, you could call this the end to suburban zoning. Okay, that's like what that is.
A modge podge of things.
Yeah, but 5 feet. You don't have to have a border of at least more than 5 feet. That's crazy. From the building to the street, the only distance you can have is 5 feet. That is as tall as me. I lay down and that'd be it. From the sidewalk or from the street, possibly, depending on, he didn't say it was from the street or the sidewalk, to the building. That's it. I lay down and that's your buffer.
Are you saying that he's not requiring that you have to have more than that, or he's saying that you're allowed to just have 5 feet.
That's it. 5 feet is your max. You cannot require more.
Oh.
Yeah.
He's saying you cannot require more than 5 feet.
Right.
Why? Why do all of this?
Why do all of this? That is a very good question. Yeah. Why is it you can't have you can't require buildings to be 2 stories or less? Why is it 3 stories? Is he wanting all towns to be urban? Is he got some kind of a deal with a developer? Is he a developer? Is that his full-time job? Because remember, this is really a part-time job as a legislature. Is he a developer? Is he a realtor? Are developers coming to him and saying, it's impossible for me to build in Parker? Parker is a city in Collin County. I don't know what their population is, but if they have 85,000 residents in Parker, their zoning is gone because they want to stay rural. And you have to have a minimum of, I think, 2 acres. Each home has to have a minimum of 1 acre or 2.
No, they can't. And if this gets passed, they wouldn't be able to require that.
No. I mean, if they have, let's say they have 79,000 residents, and then somebody has a baby. I'm sorry, did I say 79? No, that's wrong. He said 85,000, yes. Rewind, let's do that again. Let's say Parker has 84,000 residents, and then a couple has a baby. Now they are 85,000 residents, and this kicks in.
I'm sorry, but I know that a lot of Republicans don't like regulation, but when it comes to cities, that has to be an exception because cities have a way that they want the city to look. It has to look uniform. We have to have zoning. We have to have regulations on this stuff because it has to keep a look. It can't be chaos. It can't look like we have a 2-story building here and then a 5-story building here and then a 3-story building here. It would look like complete chaos.
Oh, with this, you could have a 2-story building next to a 22-story building.
And we're going to cramp everything together so that we're all packed in like sardines and we can't breathe.
Right. This will pack us in like sardines because you can't require a lot size to be larger than a certain area, larger than 2,500 square feet.
This isn't like we're dealing with the free market here. This is residents don't exactly have a choice.
Yeah.
Other than to move out of the city. But this isn't going to affect all of Texas, so where are you going to move?
If anyone has ever been to Houston, Houston has no zoning. It is literally the Wild West of land use. And it has practically no zoning.
Is this guy from Houston?
I don't know, actually, where he's from. It could be. But it's a mess. It is, talk about chaos. Nothing is cohesive. Yeah, it's chaos. There's more
to
this bill. All right. So that's part of it, what I read before. Oh, there is an exemption. You know who's safe from this stuff? Homeowners associations. If you live in a development where you have a homeowners association, you don't have to worry about this.
Oh, he's an HOA guy.
Well, HOAs are different because when you buy a house or a building and it has an HOA, they make certain requirements. And you don't have to buy that house. You don't have to buy that building. You are saying, I want to buy this house. I want to live here. I will deal with all of these rules to live here because I want to live in a community that has a certain look to it, has certain things, and I know that's going to be nice. And I'm going to pay a hefty homeowners association fee to live here. There's more to this.
Some people pick what city they're going to live in based off that same thing of like, I like this place. I like the way it...
Usually, yeah. That's one reason. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why people move to certain cities. One big reason, the biggest reason that a family or a couple moves to a certain city is because of the schools. How well does the schools rank? So that's one reason. Does it look nice? Do I like the way it looks? Some people want
I like the way it feels.
Way it feels. Some people are very big on parks. So they want a lot of parks and trails and everything. So it just depends on the person. Overwhelmingly, it's the schools. But yeah, if you don't like the way a city looks or a town looks, you're not going to live there. I have a friend. She doesn't want to live in a suburb. She wants to live in the country. 2 acres is too small for her. She wants 30 acres.
She needs space.
She wants space. But there's more to this.
That's me. I need space. I can't live in a city.
A property owner can bring an action against a municipality that violates this bill if it becomes a law. And it can sue for damages and equitable relief. Also, he talks about high density residential as well and certain counties, all right? And he gives zoning capabilities to counties who have unincorporated areas of the county that have more than 2 dwelling units per acre. Right now, if you are unincorporated, so you live in the county, but you don't live in a city, okay, you don't live in a municipality. I know a couple of people, they live in Collin County, but they are not a member of any city. Their properties are not subject to any zoning. So this is very interesting. He is giving a commissioner's court the ability to regulate the use of land located in these unincorporated areas to retain health and safety or the quiet enjoyment of property, including regulations of noise and signage. So on the one hand, he's taking local control away, but then on the other hand, he's giving local control to the county commissioner's court. This is bizarre.
My head hurts.
I'm sorry your head hurts. I'll skip over to the granny suite.
Oh gosh.
Yes, he wants people to have the capabilities of building a guest house. Some people call it a casita, or another unit that is not attached to the main home on the property. Not only that, he says the towns can't require the property owners not the ability not to lease it out or the ability not to lease out both properties. So if this bill passes, you could have a primary house and you could have a guest house. The person who owns that property, he can lease out both entities.
Okay.
Okay, both buildings. All right. He also isn't requiring any parking, any setbacks larger than 5 feet on the accessory dwelling. That's another word for it. Oh,
I mean, I know all the stuff and the regulations you have to have when you're building is annoying. I get that, but it's there for a reason.
Yeah,
you can't just not have these things.
You cannot require a minimum lot size for an accessory dwelling unit that is larger than the minimum lot size required by the political subdivision for a single-family home or duplex. I mean, this is just, you cannot require a minimum lot size for a dwelling unit that is larger than the minimum lot size required for a single-family home or duplex.
Yeah, no, it didn't help me at all. And my brain is still in one ear, out the other.
So whatever your lot size is for a regular single-family house, you can't require a larger lot size for an accessory dwelling.
Okay.
Still confused?
I think I'm just tired. I'm not processing anything at this point. You broke me.
The bill broke her, folks.
My head's literally throbbing. I can't handle it anymore.
It's just the end. Just call this the end to suburban zoning. Towns will not be able to control or have any say about pretty much a whole lot of their zoning. It's just they could take their zoning ordinance and throw them in the garbage if this bill passes. Please. I think I broke Ruth. From this bill. This bill broke Ruth.
It's just so stupid. It's mind-boggling.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I have a feeling that, we have this mentality. So Republicans have the mentality of, I should be able to do whatever I want with my property. Well, I'm sorry, no. I cannot take my house and make it into a restaurant or a strip club or a bar or a slaughterhouse.
And there's a reason for that. You have to be cognizant of your neighbors.
Exactly.
And the people around you. You can't just do whatever you want without repercussion.
Because you will be affecting your neighbors.
We should have I feel like we should have the mentality that, do whatever you want as long as it's not bothering others.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you're not hurting others and their way of life, it's fine. Do whatever you want. But
I hurt her head. What can I say?
It's so stupid. I can't.
She can't wrap her brain around it. Well, if you would like to find out more about this bill, because I'm not going to sit here and read it all, it's 11 pages long, please look it up on Texas Legislature online. The bill is HB 878, House Bill 878. And read it over and then write your rep and write the guy who wrote it and tell him, get rid of this thing. Don't mess with local control.
Also, we're not even just talking about private ownership. We're talking about developers, some of which don't even live in the area, that are going to be affecting the people that live in the area.
Yeah.
Do you see why my brain is broken? I need to step outside for a moment and take a breath.
I have a feeling that he has gotten many complaints from the construction
Probably.
lobbyists and the developer lobbyists saying
They're annoyed with all the regulations.
they're annoyed with some of the regulations in some of these towns. Some towns are very strict, like Parker.
But they have it for a reason. They want their space.
They want a rural town. They want more the ability for people to have horses and chickens and cows and ag and all this stuff. They don't want they don't even want to be a suburb.
And that should be fine. Think of also South Lake. They're very, very strict on that. They want a suburban city.
Yeah, they don't.
They're very strict. They're strict for a reason because that's what the residents want.
Right. South Lake doesn't have any apartments. The residents don't want any apartments. And the residents move there and they want that. And Lord help the city council every time somebody tries to zone for a multifamily apartment building, the residents say, absolutely not. This is not in our comp plan. You all made a promise to us. And guess what? They listen to the city council there listens to their residents because they know their residents are there because this is the town they moved to because it has certain things the residents wanted. A certain look, a certain prestige, certain housing. I don't think they have buildings over 2 stories.
No.
I don't think so.
They wouldn't tolerate it.
I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure they don't have that because they don't want it. And you know what? I do not have the constitutional right to live there. I can go live anywhere else. I don't have to live in Parker. I don't have to live in South Lake. Yeah, this will ruin South Lake.
Yeah.
Because they have certain distances between homes and things, and this will destroy that zoning.
This will destroy every zoning.
Mm-hmm.
Every single town or every single city that has a certain look that they want and that they're happy with, it's going to destroy them.
Mm-hmm. So
we should let cities have control of the kind of zoning that they want.
The residents of the cities, not developers from out of state or out of city, not the state. The residents of the city. That is who the city council works for. That's who moved in. Leave it to them. This is just more government and more state control. That's what this is.
Well, it's taking control away from cities. It's basically taking all sorts of regulation and rules away, so then chaos and anarchy starts. And because it's not like the state is adding rules; they're just taking rules away.
Well, yes, but they're saying to cities, you are prohibited from doing this. You are prohibited from telling people that they can build anything less than 3 stories. That's a rule.
It's a rule taking away a rule and saying you can't add any rules.
Right. Meanwhile, they're giving some control to the county governments. Okay, we need to move on. So please read the bill and email, call, get in contact with your legislature. Our last thing we have is Willow Bend Mall. Willow Bend Mall's rezoning finally passed City Council. Oh, please, could we start breaking ground? It's been a year of this, okay?
I know.
So, I need to make a correction. This is one reason I'm bringing this up again. So, I made an error because the plans are as clear as mud, okay? I'll admit it. They are as clear as mud. I did not read them correctly. But of course, if they made them, I don't know, bigger, give them some color, make things easy to read, I might have caught this. So I had said that they were going to be townhomes by Chapel and Plano Parkway.
Mm-hmm.
That's wrong. I apologize. I was wrong. They are not going to be townhomes. They're actually going to be single-family detached. Okay? Chapel and Plano Parkway.
They're just going to be really small?
You may be able to shake your neighbor's hand while you two are standing in your own house through a window.
So it's going to be like in downtown Plano?
Maybe. I don't know how much they're going to be in between the houses, but 33 homes in that little space, there's not going to be much room there. And there will be townhomes. So there's going to be townhomes. So these are dwellings that are attached. And there's going to be single family.
And there's going to be apartments.
And there's going to be apartments.
This is a bunch of mismatched things.
Well, I will say you could go through each stage of your life, probably in this
one area.
Depending on how much room you have in between the single family detached houses. You could go from, your single life in the apartment to you get married and you buy a townhouse, maybe you have one baby. And then you step up to the single family detached when you have a family. Could be. I don't know where you can park a car, but you could go from each stage of your life.
If you like that area, you don't have to leave.
You never have to leave the zip code. So one other thing, there was a wee bit of drama at the city council meeting over this. Yes, you figure everybody would love this, but everybody didn't apparently. So the North...
Let me guess. They didn't like the single-family detached.
No, that wasn't it.
Oh.
So first problem, the North Texas Performing Arts Theater Group. It has a theater there. It has a near Dillard's. Okay, and they were all for the redevelopment last year when it first came. They had all their members come and say, this is wonderful, and we're going to be able to have a wonderful space there, because what was going to happen was they were going to take that theater company that is next to Dillard's, and they were going to move them to be next to Macy's. Mm-hmm. But now there's a problem.
Macy's is closing.
Macy's is going to become no more. Macy's is going to become a rock pile. So now, where is the theater group going to go? Okay? That was the drama. And also, they made a commitment. The developer made a commitment with the theater group, or at least the theater group thought it had a commitment from the developer, that they were going to give them a space next to Macy's. Well, now there's no space. There's nothing on the plans that said theater group.
Well, even if Macy's is closing, you said that it was going to be a space next to Macy's, so why does that space have to go?
Because now that space is housing. It's either going to be townhouses or apartments. I don't know which, because the plans are as clear as mud. But it's going to be housing. So where's the theater group going to go? Now, Councilmember Horn asked if they were going to keep it by Dillard's, where it is. The thing is that mall, the mall part, is not going to be there in the plan. So that's what he's asked. He's like, is it going to stay next to Dillard's? And the developer basically was hemming and hawing, and he said that we would love to have them, but they cannot make a commitment until they know what they will have with the space and the zoning. Also, the lease apparently that the theater company has is not economically viable. Apparently, they are not paying the going rate, the market rate, the theater. The theater is paying very low rent. And the developer said it will try to accommodate them, but this is not economically good for us. So the theater group wanted the council to force the developer to keep that agreement. But that's not really within their purview. The city council can't put it, by law, they can't put it in the, according to the lawyer anyway, they can't make it so that they give a lease or give a space to this company, to one tenant. It wouldn't be really fair to the other tenants. Shelby Williams, he tried. He said, this is land use because the theater is supposed to go somewhere in there. Had Macy's stayed, there would be a spot for them, but now we're not quite sure where they're going to go. Councilwoman Prince asked, is it possible if we don't get the theater group to be in this space that we try to find them another space? I don't know. We have a school that you may, there's some schools that you may be interested in. They've got, nice little auditoriums there usually. And the city manager said, of course. And I think people wanted to talk more about this, but two jumped in and she made a motion to pass it. Now, I will say there was one other speaker who spoke on this zoning change. And he actually said, his former commissioner, zoning commissioner Bill Lyle, he said that this zoning that they were proposing goes against the rules and laws that they just passed on zoning in January. That has to do with homes next to highways. Because remember, this is right next to the Dallas Parkway and Dallas Tollway. So that's a big traffic area. It's environmentally not a safe zone for homes because of air quality concerns. And he's basically saying, well, you just passed something in January that says how, residents can't be here, but now you're going to pass this that's basically against your law that you just passed. They're basically breaking their own rules.
They just like to pass stuff.
Nobody said anything on that. Not a one council member had anything to say about that, which I found bizarre. I really found that quite bizarre.
Because they knew they were being called out and didn't have anything to say to that. Because he was right.
I'm going to take him at his word that he's right. He was a commissioner on the planning and zoning. He follows this stuff better than I do. And he would know about it. I don't know what they're thinking. I honestly don't.
They're not.
I could hazard a guess. My guess is that this is becoming a blight, this area. They can't lease out the mall as it is. The mall is dying. Macy's is closing. And they're concerned that if they don't get something there, this is going to turn bad. This is going to be a loss of money, a loss of revenue on the city, which could bring blight, which could bring vandalism and a whole other things that we don't want. So they're thinking we got to put something there so that we can revive this spot. We don't care about the rules. That's my guess.
Why can't it just be for like shops and such?
The argument that the developers make is if you don't have people in the location living there,
But there are
the
people
shops
around.
won't do well. But the shops aren't doing well. I don't know if the mall's not doing well because the mall, I think,
The mall is bad. That's why they're not doing well.
yeah, I think the mall is just bad. North Park is, we went over North Park. We were in North Park. It's beautiful. They put in so much stuff to attract people. If living near shops was going to save something, then Kohl's would not be going out of business.
I mean, think about it. We used to go to Willow Bend Mall all the time. We stopped going.
Well, we stopped going because,
The shops we liked kept closing.
yeah, the shops we liked pretty much kept closing.
And they were bringing nothing new that we liked, so we stopped going.
They were bringing nothing new, period. There was nothing, and they weren't even making it so it looked pretty, so that you put a wall over. Whenever you have a shop that's not leasing right now, it doesn't have a tenant, they have a wall, and they cover the opening with a wall, usually a beautiful picture
Or an ad.
Something nice that's pleasant to the eyes, that doesn't look like the mall is dying. They didn't do that. They're not doing that. North Park has leasable spaces. They just have it covered. You can do that. They have that. They're not doing that. I think that the developers are not doing that because they don't want to lease the space. They want to tear them all down and do something else. And that's what they're going to do. They got their way. They got their wish. The rent was too high. That was the other problem. The rent was too high. People were complaining. Tenants there were saying, the rent's too high. I can't afford this rent.
Is that why the shops kept closing?
It was part of the reason, yeah.
Yeah. I remember there was, years ago, there was this shop that we always used to go to for our dogs because they had doggy clothes there.
Mm-hmm.
It closed.
The rent was too high.
And that shop was great. But yeah, I guess the rent was too high and they couldn't keep it up.
Yeah. So I'm going to leave us with a funny little bonus today. Who says that comedy does not happen at City Council? Sometimes you get some entertainment. So the person, Bill Lyle, who spoke about the zoning change at Willow Bend, he also wanted to speak on comments of public interest. Now, you remember the week before, we had said that guy, he came to speak on something, then he had to rush home, get on his computer.
Yeah.
Okay. The mayor, I guess, felt bad. And he had a solution. Bill Lyle's there. He's speaking on the zoning case. And then at the end, comments of public interest. Bill has to run to another room in City Hall where they have a computer at a desk for him.
This is at the same location, by the way.
Yeah, it's another room. Okay, he just goes to another room. They sit him in front of a computer, and then the secretary says, time for comments of public interest. And she reads her usual script, and appears on the screen Bill Lyle. And the staff are audibly laughing. They are laughing. Okay? And he says, Mayor, this is ridiculous. I am in the building, and you made me come to a computer in another room to speak on comments of public interest. I'm telling you, it was hysterical. The staff, even the tech people were laughing.
What are you?
Okay.
That's funny.
This was hysterical.
That's so stupid. You have to laugh.
It's ridiculous.
It's something out of a comedy.
It is. You can't make this. You can't write this better. Can't make it up. You can't write it. Mr. Mayor, enough is enough. It is time to let people speak in front of you in the council chambers during comments of public interest. Move it back to the beginning so everyone knows what time they'll be, and have it right there at the podium in the council chamber.
You don't have to get...
That was ridiculous, sir.
You don't have to get rid of Zoom. Like, for some people, that might be a great option. But let people have it in person, too.
You gotta laugh, because if you don't, you'll cry. Lastly, our VID. Very important dog. Yes, folks, Spot is still up for adoption.
Get the sweet boy.
Over at Plano Animal Shelter. He loves to ride in cars and loves looking out the window on the drive. He went on a group walk and got along with all the other dogs. He is very friendly and likes head rubs and, of course, belly rubs. He is 4 years of age. So if you would like to see more about Spot, please go to planospoliticalpitbull.com and click on the link Pitbulls for Adoption.
And get your sweet baby boy.
Yes, get the sweet doggy. And then we can pick another VID.
Yay!
Remember to like, share, and subscribe. That is all the time we have for today. This is Esther.
And this is Ruth.
For Plano's Political Pitbull, signing off.